Well, good morning, everyone, and it's nice to be with you again. And I'm sorry I didn't get to do a devotion yesterday, but a few things came in and had to be dealt with. So I hope you had a good weekend, and especially on Friday, if you were able to maybe have some sort of celebration over the bank holiday weekend. Well, I thought we would do start a new series today, and I'm sure, like me, you've been wondering if there will be an end to this crisis, that we will get through it. And as I thought about this, I felt it would be good for us to know what it is, the Bible puts it, that this too will come to pass. I was then drawn to the life of one of the Old Testament Bible characters whose life declares that we will get through this. I want to start by asking you a few questions to see if you know who it is. I suspect the entertainment department may have an advantage here. Which long-running West End Broadway musical is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year? Which musical has often been performed in schools and colleges? What do the following actors have in common? Bill Hutton, David Cassidy, Jason Donovan, Donny Osmond, Michael Damian, Lee Mears, Philip Schofield. They've all played the lead role. Do you know what it is yet? Okay, these will make it easier. These songs are included in the musical. One More Angel in Heaven, Close Every Door to Me, Any Dream Will Do. If you got it, well, yes. It is, of course, Joseph and his Technicoloured Dreamcoat. I remember my wife and her primary school putting on the whole production at the end of one of the years. Even as a pastor, I am often prone to say, you will get through this. It won't be painless, it won't be quick, but God will use this means for good and this mess for good. But don't despair. God will help you get through this. And I often feel that it is what I have to say, but I don't know how to help practically. How could I say it? What authority or nerve have I to do so? Well, apart from personal experience, which I have shared with you on a couple of times in my own life story, it comes from a deep, dark pit that Joseph wasn't able to climb out of, after his own brothers had thrown him into. Joseph's story is found in the first book of the Bible called Genesis, and in chapter 37 we read, So it came to pass, when Joseph had come to his brothers, that they stripped Joseph of his tunic, his coat, the coat of many colours that was on him. Then they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty. There was no water in it, and they sat down and ate a meal. Can you picture this? They may have bound his hands, and Joseph's eyes wide open in unbelief and fear. He has even become hoarse by screaming, and yet a short distance away, ignoring their brother's plea for help, sits the brothers having lunch. 22 years later, when famine threatens the family, we hear the brothers confess. We saw the anguish of soul when he pleaded with us, and we would not hear him. Is that you today? Do you feel that around you there are those who are not listening? It is breaking my heart to hear of recent tragedies of crew members taking their own lives, especially when in a couple of days later their flight home was cleared. Here we have the great grandsons of Abraham. Here is the family whose family tree would have Jesus Christ on it. So why did these brothers despise their brother so much? Well, here is why, and I'm sure it will hit a note in your life if you have siblings. Or maybe you're seeing it on your place of work. Joseph was pampered and spoiled by his father. When Joseph's brothers worked, Joseph played. Joseph was the favourite son and child, and that made it worse. Jacob made Joseph a special coat of many colours. Then, when the brothers were some distance away from home, Joseph was sent by Jacob to see where the brothers were and what was happening with his herd. The brothers seized their moment by stripping Joseph of his coat. They threw him into a pit. Some even wanted to kill him. But Joseph and hide his body by saying, when they got home, some wild beast has devoured him. Joseph, like us, didn't see the assault coming. Today, just as we didn't see the virus coming, this attack on Joseph, like us, has been caught us all off guard. Is your pit something other than this virus? Is it in the form of a diagnosis that you're dreading? Is it the life-changing injury that you've suffered? News of a job loss? Life is now reduced to one quest. How do I get out of this pit and never be hurt again? It isn't easy, and it will not be easy to exit. Joseph's story reminds us that it often gets worse before it often gets better. Joseph's abandonment led to enslavement. His entrapment led to imprisonment. Joseph was sucker punched, sold out, mistreated, and those who made promises to him broke them. Yet Joseph never gives up. Anger never becomes hatred, and his resolve never vanishes. Joseph not only survived, but he thrived, rising to become the second most important and powerful man in his generation. We saw earlier that 22 years later, Joseph's brothers came to him in dread, fearing that they would be thrown into a pit. But it never happened. Genesis 50 verse 20 tells us, "As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, in order to bring about this present result, to preserve many people alive." In God's hands, intended evil becomes eventual good. Joseph held on to that promise, and you and I can hold on to that promise. God would redeem the pain. His torn robe became a royal robe. His pit became a palace, and a broken family became back together again. You meant evil against me, and the meaning of that meant in this context was that it was plaited or weaved. God is a master weaver. He stretches the yarns and intertwines the colours, the rugged twine with the velvet strings, pain with pleasure. Nothing escapes God's reach. And God passes the shuttle of the weave back and forth across the generations as he does, and a design emerges. God is also the master builder, and not only in Joseph's life but also in yours and mine. Giving us stories like Joseph, God is giving us a view of his plan. We just have to watch the master builder at work in our lives. You and I will get through this. Here in our pit we wonder, will the skies get brighter? Will the load lighten? Will we fail or ever get out of this? Isaiah tells us in Isaiah 43 and verse 2, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers they will not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, nor shall the flame scorch you. Pardon me. Getting through this won't be painless, as we have seen with so many deaths. God doesn't guarantee the absence of struggle or the abundance of strength, but he does pledge to reweave our pain for the highest purpose and good. It won't be quick, and we're seeing countries having to reintroduce lockdown as measures of their infection rates start to climb again. And Joseph's most important Bible scholar believes was 17 years old when his brothers abandoned him. He was at least 37 before his brothers saw them again. Jesus lives and worked with Joseph and his stepfather in the carpenter's shop before his ministry started, and then it was 3 years of ministry. And history has proved that God does not redeem in minutes but in lifetimes. God will use your mess for good. You and I see nothing but mess. God sees an opportunity to train, test and teach. We see a prison, God sees a kiln. We see famine, God sees location of his chosen lineage. You and I are the Joseph of the generation of a challenge of Satan's plan. We carry something of God in our lives, and Satan wants to mute our influence. As we go through this story, we see God triumphs over evil. When Satan intends for evil, God, the master weaver and builder, redeems for good. There is a poem that Corrie ten Boom often quoted, and it's with these words that I want to finish today. It's entitled The Master Weaver's Plan. My life is but a weaving between the Lord and me. I may not choose the colours, he's chosen what they should be. For he has viewed the pattern upon the upper side, while I can see it only on this the underside. Sometimes he weaves in sorrow, which seems so strange to me, but I will trust his judgment and work on faithfully. 'Tis he who fills the shuttle, and he knows what is best. So I shall weave in earnest and leave to him the rest. Not until the loom is silent and the shuttle ceases to fly shall God unroll the canvas and explain the reason why. The dark threads are needed in the weaver's skillful hands, as the threads of gold and silver in the pattern he has planned. I hope that encourages today. Bye for now, and we'll see you again tomorrow, all being well. God bless, and take care out there. Bye.